You've probably noticed groceries costing more, rent going up, and your paycheck feeling smaller each month. What you might not realize is that you may be experiencing economic pressures similar to those that contributed to challenges faced by some historical empires. While there are some recurring economic patterns throughout history, each situation has unique causes and contexts. Today, we're going to show you some of these historical parallels and why understanding economic cycles could be valuable for your financial planning. Number 1. The Golden Age Pattern. Many dominant civilizations have experienced periods of great prosperity before eventual decline, though the patterns vary significantly. Rome had its Pax Romana, roughly 27 BC to 180 AD. Britain experienced unprecedented growth during the Industrial Revolution, and America saw remarkable post-war economic expansion. However, these civilizations didn't all follow identical scripts. Rome declined gradually over centuries with many warning signs, while other empires had different trajectories of rise and fall. Number 2. Rome's Fatal Choice. Here's where the story gets personal. Picture yourself as a Roman emperor in 64 AD. Your citizens expect bread, circuses, and military protection. Your armies demand payment. Your infrastructure is crumbling, but your tax revenues aren't enough to cover it all. What do? Emperor Nero made the fateful decision to debase Rome's currency, reducing the silver content of the denarius from 98% to 83%, and cutting its weight by about 10%. It seemed like a perfect solution: create more money to fund the empire's needs. Number 3. The Weimar Warning. But that's only half the story. Sometimes this process accelerates catastrophically. During and after World War I, Germany began printing money to finance the war, and later to pay the crushing reparations imposed by the Treaty of Versailles. By 1921, this money printing accelerated dramatically, and by 1923 reached catastrophic levels. What happened next should terrify anyone watching today's money printing. A loaf of bread that cost 250 marks in January 1923 cost 200 billion marks by November 1923. Number 4. When money dies. Now here's what nobody tells you about these collapses. They don't happen to other people. They happen to regular families who thought they were doing everything right. In Germany, teachers, engineers, and shopkeepers watched their carefully saved retirement funds evaporate. The people who got destroyed weren't reckless spenders. They were the responsible ones who kept their money in banks and government bonds. Meanwhile, those who owned real assets, land, gold, businesses, not only survived, but became wealthy. The system punishes savers and rewards debtors during these collapses. Every time you choose to save cash instead of investing in real assets, you're making the same mistake that destroyed the German middle class. Number 5. The Modern Acceleration. What's truly frightening is how much faster this cycle moves today. Rome took 200 years to debase their currency. Germany's collapse happened in 24 months. But look around you now. We've seen unprecedented money supply growth, with M2 increasing by about 40% since 2020, representing the fastest peacetime monetary expansion in modern history. Your rent didn't double because land low. Number 6. The Invisible Tax. This brings us to the cruelest part of this cycle. Inflation isn't just rising prices, it's a hidden tax on everyone who can't afford to play the asset game. When the government prints money, it doesn't go to you first. It goes to banks, large corporations, and asset owners. They buy stocks, real estate, and commodities with fresh money, driving prices up before the new money even reaches your paycheck. By the time you feel the inflation, the wealthy have already positioned themselves to benefit from it. You work the same hours, but your purchasing power shrinks, while asset prices soar beyond your reach. This isn't an accident. It's the system working exactly as designed. Number 7. The social impact of hyperinflation. The devastating effects of severe inflation extend beyond economics to social fabric. Historical examples like Weimar Germany, Zimbabwe, and Venezuela show that hyperinflation often correlates with declining institutional trust, social unrest, and political instability. When currency loses value rapidly, it can undermine confidence in government and existing social structures, though outcomes depend on specific political and cultural contexts. Number 8, your financial fortress. So what can you actually do about this? The people who survive monetary collapses all make the same moves. They get out of cash and into real assets before the crowd realizes what's happening. They buy things that hold value when currency becomes worthless. Real estate, precious metals, productive businesses, even cryptocurrency. They become debtors instead of savers, because inflation destroys debt just like it destroys savings. Most importantly, they develop skills that remain valuable regardless of what happens to money. The Romans who owned land survived the collapse. The Germans who owned businesses rebuilt quickly. The question isn't whether this cycle will continue, it's whether you'll position yourself on the right side of it. Number 9, the choice. Here's the reality. You're living through history right now, whether you realize it or not. Every empire thinks they're different, that they've figured out how to avoid the fate of their predecessors. But the pattern is stronger than any individual empire. The only choice you have is how you respond to it. You can keep playing by the old rules, save cash, trust institutions, hope things return to normal. Or you can learn from history and position yourself like the people who not only survived these transitions, but thrive during them. The empires always fall, but smart individuals can still win. The question is, which type of person will you choose to be? The cycle of empire, inflation, and collapse isn't just ancient history. It's the lens through which you should view every financial decision you make today. Understanding this pattern won't stop what's coming, but it can help you navigate it successfully. The people who recognize these cycles early don't just protect their wealth, they position themselves to benefit from the chaos. If this changed how you think about money and investing, there's a lot more where this came from.